Yesterday I realized that it is my 4th year of trading, and today I want to tell you a little bit about my backtesting experience. So a lot of you know, with my new strategy, I backtested for around 3 or 4 months in a row and created my new strategy. And to be honest, if I would do it all over again, I would do it completely different, because there is a lot I've learned in these months, and I've never before backtested this much. I've only backtested a little bit here and there and not so much data in one session. Like I backtested in these 3 or 4 months 140 hours, so that's a lot. So the first thing I would never do again is take that long of a break of trading. I took 3 months a complete break from trading, and I did not place one single trade, and that was not so good looking back at it, especially when you're creating a new strategy, because when you take that long of a break and come back and want to trade again, then the probability of bad habits creeping in is very, very high, and this is exactly what happened to me. I was always so big on journaling, and when I came back, I felt so over the top and thought that I created this insane strategy, but I didn't realize that the basics are still so important. And with the basics, I mean, for example, journaling. And when I came back, I didn't journal the first 2 weeks. So don't think that when you backtest that much that the basics are not still important. So that's the first thing that I really learned from this. And that brings us to the next lesson, which is that when I would do it all over again, I wouldn't come back and trade again on my funded accounts or on a live account. I would just demo trade for at least 1 week, because when you are absent from the market and take not any trades for 3 months, then it is very, very likely that you come back and either be overzealous to finally take trades again, or you would hesitate because you don't want to come back and take a loss. Because I was so proud of the amount of backtesting that I did, that I really wanted it to work out, but it really backfired for me. And the first 2 weeks of being back was, to be honest, not good at all for me. And especially, it was not what I was expecting at all. Then the next thing I would do differently 100% is not backtest that much in a row. I would never again, if let's say, for example, I want to make another strategy, I want to come up with another strategy, I would never again backtest for 3 months in a row, but I would backtest for, let's say, 1 week, and then forward test it in the next week. So I would go back and forth, because you can adjust your strategy so much better when you try it out in the real market, when you try it out in real time, and then you see what you can adjust so much better. And I feel like this is also why I'm still adjusting my strategy, because I've not forward tested it in the whole time of me backtesting that much. And I think if I would have done it that way, that I would be much further ahead than I am right now, because it now took me so long to readjust and to get a feel for the market with the new strategy. And if I would have done it like back and forth with doing 1 week of backtesting, 1 week of forward testing, then I think I would have built a better foundation for my new strategy. The next thing that I would do differently is that I would not backtest that many examples in a row. Like, I was looking for things and wanted to see what works and what doesn't, but I took one thing that I wanted to backtest and backtested it for, let's say, half a year of backtesting data. I thought that me backtesting that much data on something is giving me more security, and the probabilities are just higher, and I feel safer when I know that something that I backtested is bulletproof over a long period of time. But the thing is, when you backtest something, it's very, very likely that it's going to have the same results over just a shorter period of time. So if I would do it all over again, I would just take 20 examples of something that I wanted to backtest and then go into the market and forward test it. And then I will see if it works for my new strategy or if it doesn't. One thing that I was also doing when I was backtesting, I was paying too much focus, too much attention on the pure entry mechanisms. So yes, I also backtested things more in context and also things that help me to validify my strategy and my entry mechanism, but I was doing that way too little. I was paying too much attention on the pure entry mechanism that I realized when I got back into the charts, into real-time trading, that it is much more important to focus on context, because you can have the best entry mechanism, but if you don't focus on context, even the best entry mechanism is going to fail. So it is so important to backtest in context and not just pure entry mechanisms. And this also leads me to the very next thing that I would do differently, and it is to backtest on the higher time frames. So I was backtesting a lot on the lower time frames, but it really goes in with what I mentioned before, is the higher time frames give you context and the lower time frames don't give you much context. So the highest probability trades you get when you align with the higher time frame, and when you only backtest the lower time frame, you lack that, you don't have that in your trading. And this is so important. So if I would start and form a new strategy, create a new strategy, I would go into the charts and start backtesting on the higher time frames, and then step by step drop down to the lower time frames. So for example, backtest something with 20 examples and then take that and see in the market if it works or if it doesn't. You can also only forward test it, let's say, for 3 days and then readjust. And if you feel like you have the higher time frame on point, then you can drop to the lower time frames and start backtesting more in detail the entry mechanism. And this brings me back to the next point, which is I would backtest multiple time frames simultaneously. So I would go into my backtesting software and would put, let's say, the 15-second chart, the 1-minute chart, and the 1-hour chart next to each other and backtest these simultaneously, so that I again get more context and also that I don't miss something on the lower time frames and maybe miss a potential entry mechanism that seems good. Because when you only backtest the higher time frames without looking at the lower time frames simultaneously, you might miss out on something huge. And this is also where I had my biggest realization, my biggest revelation when I came back into trading, is that the entry mechanism The exact entry mechanism that I trade now, I formed even after I had all of the data, all of the backtesting material. And this goes to show that the context on the higher time frames and the key levels on the higher time frames can give you a sniper entry on the lower time frames. And when you backtest it like that, then you see the pattern repeat itself all over again. So this is so important. So I hope you liked this video and me talking to you in a more raw style in my kitchen while drinking matcha. So I really hope that you don't make the same mistakes when it comes to creating a strategy and backtesting it. And also let me know in the comments if I should do a video on how to create a strategy and really go with you into the charts and show you a couple things, what I would do if I would create a strategy ever again. And yeah, thank you for watching and talk to you the next time. Bye.